Hello everyone, Sylvanus in the USN here. I just wanted to do a quick overview of what I think is probably one of the most underrated knife designs that Emerson has done in his whole catalog. This is the CQC-10. Now obviously this is a custom version, but this is really a super good EDC knife. It's a little bit large in size for what some people might like. It's about I think it's a 3.6 inch blade. Overall, so it is a little bit larger, but just the overall blade shape, the handle design, everything about it is just a really nice all-around EDC knife. And I mean, if you want to use this kind of knife on duty as, firefighter, police officer, that kind of thing, it would be really good. It's not a knife that I believe is in production anymore, but if you can find one on the secondary market, it's a really good knife. So let's get started. So this has a really ergonomic handle, like pretty much every single Emerson has. You can see thumb fits right where the wave feature is. The hump on the back fits right over. And I have medium to large size hands, but I get a full 4-finger grip with a little bit of extra on the back. If you had like extra large hands, this might be a little bit too small, but for me, it's just perfect. You have really nice handle ergonomics here. You see, basically it's just 2 scallops like this. And that kind of doesn't hold your fingers in just 1 or 2 positions. You can kind of like choke back if you had to. You can kind of adjust where your fingers are without the hump here getting in the way. It's just really well designed, classic Emerson. If you're doing the reverse grip, which I guess if you had to use this in a tactical situation, not like most people are, but if you did, it just fits the thumb goes wraps right around the back. It just, even where the clip is set, it just fits my 2 fingers in there, and I could stab if I have to. Overall, the knife is just really well designed. You have this nice spear point blade here, really nice. You have the traditional saber grind that most Emersons have. This one is V-grind chisel edge, even though it's custom. And just try to get the logo in there. Yeah, Emerson Spec War knives. I have used and carried this one a little bit. I purchased it purposely to have an Emerson custom that I would actually use, because I do have a waveless CQC-6 and I don't really want to use that. Those things are so hard to come by. I spent a lot of money on it. I don't want to beat it up, This one I figured I would use. I'm a little bit hesitant to use it personally, and it's not because it was expensive or it's a custom, but I'll kind of go into that here in a second. But you have this really beautiful spear point blade, really nice relief edge, super sharp. You have the thumb hole, this is one of the only Emerson designs that has a thumb hole in it. And so it would make it really good for gloves. Really nice wide hole for gloves. Completely ambidextrous, so when it's closed, you have total good access to it on both sides. Whereas with some Emerson knives, specifically the CQC-6 and CQC-7, you can't really access it from the left side. The thumb disc is just right up against the scale, so it doesn't really give you any good grip on this side. This is really good. Obviously, you have the wave feature, doubles as your thumb ramp. You have just a tiny bit of jimping on the blade and then on the frame. And Emerson's jimping is really good. Obviously done by hand. You can see the striations of where he files it out. But it's just enough, and the angle of the thumb ramp is just enough with the wave feature that you can get just a good purchase. And I use it to pierce, and it's not like in a tactical sense, but like I puncture these really hard jugs of DEF fluid or cardboard or sometimes hard plastic at work. And it just makes it easier to kind of just pierce in there and work really well. You have a little bit of a swedge on the top. It doesn't go all the way to the end. It's on both sides there. But it just makes it for a really beautiful looking blade. Nice satin finish, machined satin finish on it. Really beautiful knife. It's very similar to the A100, and I don't have one to compare. The A100 is obviously thinner, but it does have kind of the same profile as the A100. Overall, it's just wider. which is funny how a lot of people don't really like this because it almost has the same blade. It would probably have the same blade as maybe like a Super A100 size, but I'm not sure. I've never seen one of those in person. You can see a little bit of snail trails and scratches on it. It has been carried, not been used a super heavy amount. And the reason for that is this. You can see how super early that lockup is. Now, everybody loves early lockup, and I do too. But even if I slam it really hard, it's still pretty early. And my worry is that if I'm ever trying to puncture, like I said, I puncture these really hard pieces of plastic jugs, something like that. I don't want it to close. So I think what I'll do is just carry this maybe as a secondary, fidget with it on the couch a little bit to kind of get that to kind of move over just a little bit so that I feel a little bit better about how it engages. But this is a really, really good EDC knife if you find a production model. For size comparisons, we'll have, this isn't an actual Emerson, but it's an Emerson design, Emerson ProTech CQC-10. You can see that it's bigger than the CQC-10, but the CQC-10 isn't really a big knife anyway. This is 3.25 inch blade. I think it's 7.4 inches overall, this one. So it's quite a bit bigger. Blade profile is thinner too. Same thickness though, 1/8 of an inch thick. Next, we'll throw it up against the Strider SNG Monkey Edge Frag Pattern Edition. You can see it's pretty close to the same size, but the CQC-10 is a little bit bigger overall. So this is, you know, it's a relatively big knife. Let's throw in another Emerson here. One of my favorite Emerson designs right here, the Emerson CQC-15. You can see the 15 is a little bit bigger than the 10. A little bit wider in some spaces. That's obviously a production model. And then for one more, something a little bit more common, like I like to do, Spyderco Endura. And you can see it's almost the exact same size as the Endura. The Endura is maybe the tiniest bit longer, but it's a pretty big size knife. But overall, excellent EDC knife, really nice blade shape, good amount of belly, good amount of straight edge. When these were in production, of course, they were in the black finish, the black Cerakote finish, as well as the stone-washed finish with satin flats, or satin grind, I'm sorry. And it's just a really, really good knife. You can see it kind of scrapes my thumb when I open it. This is really sharp in here. I don't think the production ones are that sharp, but this is really, really sharp. This is easily 90 degrees. There is no chamfering around that at all, which is fine. I mean, it's not going to be perfect. Everything Emerson makes is by hand, so everything's going to be a little bit different, finished a little bit different. It's not a big deal to me. But if you are fidgeting with this, it will tear up your thumb pretty good. But yeah, so that's just a quick overview. Really, really overlooked, in my opinion, knife from Emerson. If you do have the option to pick one up, I suggest picking one up. It's just most of Emerson's designs, like we'll bring it out again, the CQC-10, this is designed as more of a tactical knife. I mean, Emerson knows what he's doing when it comes to like knife fighting and fighting knife designs. Obviously, this was meant to pierce, you know, it was meant to be strong. It was meant to have it was just meant to be tactical, right? And a lot of other knives that he has, you know, CQC-15, like I said, same thing. Tanto, the ability to slash, all that kind of stuff with the recurve, like the Commander has the recurve. There are a lot of tactical designs, and a lot of people use them as normal EDC knives. Here's another super tactical Emerson knife, the Persian. This is from one of the more recent drops. But obviously, super tactical design. This is meant to stab. This is meant to slash. It has a super, super fine tip on it for piercing. This is a little bit more general EDC, right? It has, you know, you could obviously push it into a role of self-defense if that was your thing, if you knew what you were doing. But for the most part, this is just a really good EDC knife. It has a nice amount of belly, like I said, good thumb ramp, good place for your finger up here, good lock bar access. You know, everything is pretty much the same from the custom version to the production versions as far as just the way that everything's designed, the access to everything. The only difference is it's not handmade, of course, but it's just a really good EDC knife, real nice and thin, easily sharpened, 154 cm steel. You know, there's no reason to overlook this knife. Again, not in production anymore, but if you can find one, I suggest picking one up. So that's pretty much it, guys. If you guys have any questions or would like to see more, let me know down in the comments below. Other than that, have a great day.